Hello everyone. What I want to show you today is basically the lazy fish keeper's guide to raising fruit flies. Now this is my last jar, so you can see that despite what some people may say or whatever, what I use to raise fruit flies does actually work. So I want to show you how to do it. This is not really designed for the guy who's got a bunch of frogs that needs it or whatever. I don't know if they'd work for them or not, but it seems like I've got quite a few flies coming. But this was my original colony that I got at a reptile show, and as you can see, it's pretty well shot. It raised a lot of flies. I just have some fish that fruit flies seem to be a real treat for. They live up near the top. But this is my entire recipe. I use a overripe banana, which means I got a lot of sugar in there. I add some instant potatoes. Now that's what I use for doing the micro worms and banana worms and Walter worms. If you use oatmeal for that or baby cereal, then use that instead. This is, like I said, this is for people that already have fish, so you already have all this stuff. Everybody's got a banana that you wish you had eaten, some potatoes, oatmeal, something or other. If you're raising the micro worms, you've got some instant yeast, some sort of yeast. If you're raising vinegar eels, you've got apple cider vinegar. The one item that I did have to buy, if you'll see here, I didn't have it at the time. I just used cut paper. It looks like that worked pretty good. All the fancy guys use this Excelsior. It's some kind of like wood shavings or something. I got some of that at the craft store over by where the plastic plants and stuff is, so I thought I'd use that. I at least conform to the way you're supposed to do it one time. So we're going to start with our overripe banana. I like bananas before they even start to get ripe, which is, they taste different and most people don't, but if I wait to eat them at this stage, they give me terrible indigestion. Plus they're very easy to scrunch up, so I just scrunch it up with a fork. Doesn't take long. Bananas are funny, as you do this to them, they'll just turn into like a paste, like applesauce, banana sauce. They'll just totally go mushy on you. And since the bacteria that grow in the yeast seem to be so critical, I add some of whatever it is I use for the mealworms. See, there's some of that. In my case, it's instant potatoes. I use instant potatoes for two reasons. The culture grows slower. That's one reason. The other reason is as it goes bad, it doesn't smell very much. For some reason, the potatoes on a sour culture doesn't taste bad. Any kind of the potatoes will work as long as you're not using potatoes that have flavoring in them. And some of them I get have a little flavor pouch thing in it. Throw the pouch away, use the potatoes. I bought these particular ones at one of the dollar stores or something, only to get home and discover that the reason it's only $1 instead of the $2.59 or whatever is because there's not near as much in it. What's the point? You know, you don't pay much, but you don't get much. So I'll go back to my usual Hungry Jack. Add a little bit more potato. I have to be fairly kind of like mashed potato mixture. And you have all that moisture coming out of the bananas. So I think we got about 5 minutes in this thing here so far. Now, all the fancy guys use the hard plastic deli type cups. I hate plastic. I use glass. You can wash it, put it in the dishwasher, you can reuse it, and the really cool part is that this particular thing had olives in it or something. I don't know, I didn't pay anything for it. So, I'm going to plop in my media. And of course I always forget something. Forget to help with the mold. You want to change the pH a little bit and add just a little bit of apple cider vinegar. That's maybe half a teaspoon. I'll mix that in there. Plop it in with my mix. I'd have been happy if I'd have thought about it before I started, but that's alright. I'll just mix it up some. I don't think the flies really care. So, okay. Now, it'd have been nice if that had been a bigger banana. I would normally like about half again more of this. What do the professional guys doing these things do? I don't know. They probably take more care about it than I do. I just want some flies for my fish. I'm not doing these super duper fancy amphibians and reptiles or whatever. Then I'm going to open up the same little package that I use for the microworms and just get a little bit there on my finger, as you can see. Sprinkle that in. Do another one, give them 2 of those. And we're done with this thing. That's it with the yeast. So we've used the smashed banana that we'd be putting in the compost or throwing away. We've used some instant potatoes from the microworms. We've used a little tiny bit of apple cider vinegar that we used with the vinegar eels. Now rather than be cutting up paper, I'm actually going to cut some of this Excelsior. Well, I've never done with it, so I don't know what you can do with it. Does it pull apart? It pulls apart if you know somebody, I think. Wow, I think it's just shredded wood. I don't know. God, what a mess. I may go back to the paper just to eliminate the mess. Okay, so I'm going to pile some of that in there. And to take a note off of Julia Child, now we add the flies. I think she added zest, which was usually ended up being wine. But, so now we're going to add some flies. Now, I'm going to see if there's any flies left in here, just because it'd be cool to find out. So I'm going to give them a tap down. And it looks like there's no flies left. This has lasted about 3 weeks. I don't know how old it was to start with. Now, I know there's no shortage of flies in here. So we're going to have to tap these down really good, or we'll have flies all over the place. Now, then, you just want to like shake some flies in there. I don't know, 40, 50 or so. You kind of got to step lively, because you'll have flies crawling all over the neighborhood. Then I'm going to take a paper towel and fold it in half. Put it around the top here. That does 2 things. Keeps the flies inside and keep flying flies from getting inside. And here's what we look like here with my other culture. Boy, it's got a lot of flies. Okay. And here's my new culture. I'll put a little yellow tag on it with the date so I know when I started. And that's all there is to it, of just doing the lazy person's guide to reproducing fruit flies. It's a super ripe banana, a little bit of potatoes or baby cereal or oatmeal, just a touch of apple cider vinegar for the help keep the mold down, a little bit of yeast, tad of water. Takes maybe 10 minutes to make a culture. It'll last for about 3 weeks. I don't know why they use glass. I'd hate to throw this away. It's just a lot of plastic in the landfill. when you can use a nice glass, wash it out and reuse it. And as you can see, after all the weeks that this one has been here, there's no sign of any mold on it, so the apple cider vinegar seemed to work pretty good. So that's how I do it just for my fish. Now, if you're curious, how do you feed this to fish? The easiest way that I find is to shake them into a container, the flies. Then I put the flies in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes. Chilling them down really slows them down. And then you can feed them to anybody. I mean, any fish that'll take flake food from the top will love fruit flies from the top of the water. So your killifish, most of my cichlids like them. I mean, they'll take flake food right at the top of the water. So they'll take slow moving fruit flies at the top. And since they don't fly, there's no real danger of them causing any terrible havoc afterwards. So think about fruit flies. Pretty easy food. Thank you for watching.